10. Did something break? I think I just want to get kind of your opinion because there's a lot of these rumors, and even just looking at the SUI chart right now, it's almost down to the price of that 10-10 wick where a lot of
Yeah.
coins got liquid. They had this huge like
Yeah. You
bounce
see it.
that seemed like, hey, something broke in their liquidity briefly, but
Oh, it's
now
below. It's well below that
it's
wick.
below that amount.
Well,
So
I'm
what?
looking at the Coinbase chart. I think the Binance chart went down, like you said, to $1.
Okay, maybe
But
I
I'm
was
looking
looking
at
at
Coinbase. You're
Binance.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think it is about the Binance price. Something I think a couple of things broke, and I don't know that we will ever know for sure. My feeling is that Binance had an Oracle pricing problem related to Athena, where certain assets that were involved in setting up the collateral price for the perps were using a unwrapped version of the price as opposed to the actual price of the wrapped asset. And when they disconnected, it created a problem in their system, and people lost money that shouldn't have been losing money. And I think Binance has been trying to make them whole. The problem is that caused a cascading effect where everyone lost money. And so it's very easy to point to people who are in that specific trade and say, okay, our system was set up incorrectly. And they did admit this online. You can go back and look, and they said, okay, we're making affected people whole. But I think the bigger problem was the cascading effect that caused, which I think probably wiped out a couple of market makers, or at least caused those market makers to move their assets off or out temporarily. And the temporarily part hasn't ended yet. And so that has drained significant liquidity from the system. The volume of the price movement relative to the amount of perp liquidations that it's taking to move the market is way down. And so what that tells me is that either the percentage of people holding assets in cold storage has skyrocketed recently, or people have simply been, saying, okay, I'm taking my assets off of these perp systems, and they've done it. And so, I think that liquidity is going to come back, but it's going to take time. And again, it's a variation on what we used to see in the very early days of crypto. It was like BitMEX, right? You'd see these wild wicks, right? Remember the March COVID move on BitMEX, right? So you had I think it was 2020 March when the price just wicked down during the day, and a lot of that was basically cascading liquidations on BitMEX. So I think we're looking at a modern version of that, more modern 6 years later, but meaning other dexes. Binance allows cross collateralization for their perps, which other exchanges don't do, at least to the extent that Binance does, which makes them one-stop shopping for most of the people who have, want to buy X on leverage using collateral Y, which other places don't allow you to easily do, is my understanding. And so they tend to be the ground zero now, whereas 7 years ago it was BitMEX, right? So long-winded way. Sorry for these long answers, but I think that basically that's what happened. And now we've got the gold trade, the AI fear, the geopolitical stuff, and we're still within January, November, December. We're basically only 100 days from when that last event happened, plus all the other stuff that's happening on top. It feels like it's a little bit of an FTX moment that we're going to be recovering from now. And remember, FTX after that it was more or less up and to the right once that December bottom hit, if I have my calendar right. And so I do think we're going to basically get a big move at some point this year. It may not come until the summer. I don't know. But with the amount of money that's going to have to come into the system, given that tale of two cities I mentioned earlier, meaning the disconnect between those participating in the growth and those who are sitting on the sidelines, is going to be significant.
Let's hope so, Bill. I hope so. Yeah. I think it's